Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the House of Chayton's top 5 movies of 2023 so far. I've been meaning to do this for a little bit, and I thought, what better time since there's no exiled entertainment this week? How about do it now? So, with that being said, we're going to have one honorable mention, and that will actually be, pause for dramatic effect, Joyride, which of course came out recently. I was semi looking forward to it. I didn't really get too familiar with it till maybe a couple weeks prior to the release. I heard nothing but praise for this movie. And as someone who honestly is not the biggest fan of modern comedy, I thought this movie was hilarious. I thought the performances were fantastic. I thought the cinematography was great. I thought the writing also was great. Some people may say, oh, it's a lot of sex jokes. So you know what? Sometimes I am a sucker for that type of stuff. And it's nice for a change as, women. I know Bridesmaids also did something similar to that, but you know what? Very much enjoyed this movie. And I am looking forward to if they decide to do a follow-up to this. So with that being said, we are going to get into my top 5. And at number 5, which at one point was the best horror film of the year, but that has fallen, and this is the second best horror film of the year, and that is Evil Dead Rise. Now, I was looking forward to this movie as someone who is a fan of majority of the Evil Dead films. I prefer the 2013 reboot as my favorite Evil Dead movie. And this reminded me a lot of that reboot, even though it's supposed to be in the same universe as the Bruce Campbell movies. But I thought the direction was great. I thought the atmosphere, especially with it being in a high-rise instead of the cabin in the woods, even though we get some of that, of course, as you see here in the beginning. And I thought the performances were fucking phenomenal. Alyssa Sutherland and Lily Sullivan, were fantastic in their respective roles as the sisters of this movie. I thought Alyssa Sutherland especially was outstanding in her transformation and her performance when she is possessed by the Necronomicon. And buckets of gore. Just straight up love this film. Go see it. It's on HBO Max right now. Next up is what I think is the best horror film so far of the year. And that is, and I'll give you a hint, it's an A24 movie. Shocker. Talk to me. I got to see this early before it's going to be released at the end of the month. And I implore everybody to check it out. It was had some very good scares. The performances as well. I'm not familiar with a good amount of people in this movie. So I thought they did wonderful, excuse me. My apologies, ladies and gentlemen. I'm getting used to doing these reviews. I should have added some music in this bitch, but you know what? Fuck it. Sophie Wilde, I thought was great. The only person I was familiar with was Miranda Otto. I thought she did good, but Sophie Wilde was great in this film. She's the lead, and I look forward to seeing more of her. I thought the hand itself was creepy. I thought the practical effects were top-notch. Even some CG, very little, but some. And there was a scene with a deer that you may be a little squeamish of. That's all I'll say there. So next up is what at one point was the closest contender to knock off my original number 1. And that is my number 3. And that is Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. I was looking forward to this movie. I was a big fan of Into the Spider-Verse, but I did not expect that this film would be probably in my top 3 favorite Spider-Man films of all time. And that includes the live-action movies. Still does not touch my love, the original Sam Raimi Spider-Man. I know some people prefer Sam Raimi Spider-Man 2, but I prefer my Defoe. So I know Defoe is in 2, but I need all my Defoe and, Sam Raimi Spider-Man. And Tobey Maguire is still the best Spider-Man. But this movie was fucking amazing. The animation blew even the previous film away. And while this is a 2-parter, and we'll get into another 2-parter that we'll discuss as well, while I guess the only thing I would say is, despite the other one I'm going to mention, this definitely felt like a 2-part, like a part 1, which maybe is the only critique I could give it. But I thought the animation was top notch. I thought the story was great. I thought the Spot, which I didn't think I would actually like as the main villain, but Jesus Christ, he was great. And Spider-Gwen was also awesome. And Miles Morales, like, I'm so happy that Miles is getting more exposure to the masses with, of course, the video games and these movies itself. So definitely check this movie out. It is currently in theaters still, same as Joyride. I forgot to mention that earlier. And of course, Talk to Me will come out on July 28th. So with that, we are getting to what was, for a good while, my favorite film of 2023, and a movie that I didn't think would be beat. And that, of course, is, ladies and gentlemen, Ari Aster's follow-up to Hereditary and Midsommar. And of course, many of you know I love Ari Aster. I think Hereditary and Midsommar are masterpieces, but his magnum opus was and is Beau is Afraid. I love this movie. It is a movie that disturbed me more so than even Hereditary. Made me laugh as well. I think Joaquin deserves an Oscar nomination for his performance in this movie. The last half of this movie, or the third act, was stuff that I may never get out of my head, and that's good and bad, I guess you could say. And if you've seen the movie, you know what scenes I'm referring to. I thought the performances were great, especially Joaquin again, it's Joaquin. Like you really, it's very hard to freaking, have a bad Joaquin, And I thought, of course, Parker Posey, who was someone I was excited to see again. I haven't seen her in a bit. She was fucking great in the time she was in this. I thought the kid who played the young Beau was also great. And of course, Zoe Lister-Jones, who of course played the younger version of Beau's mom. Of course, I'm a fan of hers from the show Life in Pieces. However, she did direct The Craft Legacy, so they all can't be winners. It was great. I thought Patti LuPone was also great in the movie. Just an overall, and Nathan Lane was just excellent in this film. Again, this movie was everything I wanted in an Ari Aster movie. I was worried when he was saying it was going to be more of a comedy, but Jesus, it was the blackest comedy I've seen in a long ass time. And I actually was not planning on, this was a movie I may never see again, but now since it's on Blu-ray, I plan on picking it up, and who knows, there may be something in the works talking about that. But with that being said, everybody's probably wondering, what could have beaten Beau is Afraid, especially since I'm a big Ari Aster fan. What could have beaten it? What could have beaten A24 from taking the spot of the number one? Because you know me, I'm a big A24 fan. You know that 2 of the 5 movies in this list are fucking A24 movies, and technically 6, but Joyride's honorable mention. What could take the spot? Well, I'll tell you what. And what I think is the best movie of the year. And a movie that I expected to love, but didn't expect to love as much as I have. And that is Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. I was not expecting this movie to be at my number 1. Hell, I was not even expecting to be in my top 5. I didn't even think it would be John Wick Chapter 4. That's basically where I thought it was going to go. Not saying that was going to be a bad movie, but I thought that, I never in my wildest dreams would I come in on here and tell you that something is better than an A24 movie or an RES film or Halloween or fucking some unique horror film, whatever. But no, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning was, in my opinion, the best Mission Impossible movie to date. Christopher McQuarrie's magnum opus, as well as Tom Cruise's. A movie that was almost 3 hours long, but did not feel like it. And unlike SpiderMan Across the Spider-Verse, while it is a part 1, it felt like its own movie. It felt like it's like, you could watch it and you wouldn't even think to yourself, oh, look at that cliffhanger. Look at it, look at them just leaving it open for the follow-up. This movie was excellent. The action was great. The cast, new and old, was great. Palm, I am not going to butcher her last name, but the girl who played Mantis in The Guardians. I loved her in this movie. She was the best part of this entire movie. I love the story, and I love how timely it is. And again, if you see, I'm not going to go too much into detail because I don't want to spoil anything, but again, I love how timely with stuff that's been going on in society today, how this movie is timely with what's going on. And I love that. And I felt like it felt fitted into the Mission Impossible universe. It didn't feel forced. It didn't feel like just a trend, whatever. It was fucking great. And I cannot wait for Dead Reckoning Part 2 next year, unless the actors and writers' strikes has anything to do about that. So that has been my top 5 movies of 2023 so far, with one honorable mention. Let me know, guys, what you think of the list. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know in the comments. And please, everybody, be civil in your debate. Now, mind you, I've not seen Oppenheimer yet. And I've not seen fucking Barbie. So just bear that in mind. This list could change again. Who knows? Barbie could be number 1, best movie of the year. We don't know. We don't fucking know. Stranger things have happened. So with that being said, guys, I hope you all enjoyed this. Thank you all for keeping up the support for not only Exiled Outcast, but Exiled Entertainment. We'll see you all next week for another episode of Exiled Entertainment. And check out this Friday's Exiled Outcast. So with that being said, guys, y'all take care. And ta-ta for now.